Okay, so simplifying radicals, I guess part 2. We already know how to do this. We've practiced it. Just want something a little more concrete in your binder with some examples and just clarify anything that may still be a little fuzzy or confusing to you. So in order to simplify a radical, remember you start by writing the prime factorization for the term. That's when we do the tree and we find the factors for the number. Then remember we circle the prime numbers. And remember square root, we're looking for pairs or twins to bring out. And for simplifying cube root, we're looking for the triples or groups of 3 for the cube root. So the square root, and this goes over the variables really easily too. For the square root of 360 a cubed b squared c, the prime factorization of it is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Now, that's without the tree, okay? I don't expect you to be able to do that without first doing it this way. So, remember if it ends in 0, 10, it's a multiple of 10. This is a 5 and a 2, 6 and 6. Go down to 3 and 2, and 3 and 2, right? So the pairs here, we have a pair of 2s, and that's that one. We have a pair of 3s. That's that one. Oh, they just wrote them all in here. I see what they did. So a 2, okay, a 3, a 2, and a 3, and a 2, and a 5. So they just wrote all of the prime numbers in here. I didn't show you that. I'll show you how to just bring them on the outside. All right, so if we were to bring them out, a pair of 2s comes out here. A pair of 3s comes out here. All right, and then they factored the a's right here. So a3 factors out to a times a times a. B squared factors to b times b. And then c factors out just as one c. So a pair of a's, okay, comes out right there. A pair of b's comes out right here. And then the a and the c that are lonely, they stay inside right here. And then again, this 2 and this 5 stay on the inside. And remember, we always multiply the numbers that stay on the inside. So then simplify it. 2 times 3 is 6. AB comes with it. 2 times 5 is 10. And AC comes down. And that's your final answer. This is just another way of writing what we did over here. Okay. The cube root, again, they factored out 360. Okay. The same way that you factored out 360 over here. This one's just cube root. So the difference is this. It's the same numbers. Okay, so it's going to be the same factors. Does that make sense? It's going to be the same factors. So we still have 10 and 36. We still have 5 and 2. Oops, I didn't mean to circle that. 3 and 2, 3 and 2, and that's not circled. Okay, so then they just wrote the 1, 2, 3 2s. 1, 2, 3 2s. They wrote the 2 3s. 1, 2, right there, and they wrote the 1 5 right there. A to the third, there's the 3 a's, b squared, and c. Then they brought them out in groups of 3. So these 3 2's come out here. The 2 3's have to stay inside because, again, it's cube root. We're bringing out groups of 3's, not 2's. The 5 stays on the inside. These 3 a's come out as 1a. And the 2b's and the 2c's stay inside. So further simplified, it's 2a cube root, 3 times 3 times 5. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. B squared c. So, little hints under here for a cube root. Remember, you're going to circle triples or triplets. And then no exponents greater than a 2 is underneath the square root. No exponents that are greater than 2. Because remember, if it's greater than 2, you can bring a group of 3 out. So there should never be an exponent greater than 2. Over here in square roots, there should never be exponents greater than 1 underneath the radical sign. If there's an exponent greater than 1, then that means there's a pair that can come out. Okay, that should make sense. All right, write the square root in simplest form. And in the space below, I'm going to do these with you. So we talked about this yesterday. When there's a dot in the middle, we're multiplying these. Okay, so 24 times 12. I need to do that on my calculator. And you should be doing that on your calculator as well. It comes out to 288. A squared times a, remember it's an exponent of 1, is a to the third power. You add the exponents. B times b to the third, 1b, and b to the third, b to the first, b to the third, is b to the fourth. Add the exponents. C squared doesn't have anything to add to, so it just stays as c squared. Okay, so there we multiplied the radicals. Now we simplify it. And it's a square root, okay? So what multiplies to be 288? All right, it's an even number, so you know I'm always going to say start with 2. 2 goes into 2, 1, 44. Okay, 2 times 1, 44 is 288. Oh, that's a perfect square. It's 12 times 12. Okay, factor it down a little further. Let's say 4 and 3. All right, 3's prime. And this factors to 2 and 2. That's a 2. Okay, I'm pulling out pairs because it's a square root, and as I pull them out, I'm going to write them. So I have a pair of 2's, and I'm going to put it right there. I have another pair of 2's, and I'll write that there. I have a pair of 3's. Notice I'm putting dots in between. What is left? Look at all my circles. I have a 2 left. Oh, I forgot to do my variables first. A to the third, b to the fourth, and c squared. Okay, I have a pair of a's that can come out. I have 2 pairs of b's that can come out. So that's going to be b squared, because b times b is b squared. And I have a pair of c's that can come out. Those all come out. Underneath the radical symbol, there's only a 2 for the numbers and an a for the variables. All right, I'm going to simplify that a little bit more. Sorry, it's a little bit tight right there. So 2 times 2 times 3 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. And then I just write a, b squared, c. My square root sign, 2a, is my final answer. If you are having difficulty with this, make sure you listen to it again or call me over and ask questions. You need to be clear on how to do this. Okay? We're going to write so remember, when there's a number outside, you just have to remember to bring that down and multiply it with anything else that comes out as a pair. So 48 is 4 and 12, or 2 and 24. If you did 2 and 24 and you went ahead of me, that's fine. You'll still get the same prime factorization. You don't have to have this exact factorization. The a is just an a. And we have 5 c's. Okay, we need to remember, so I just factored this part. We need to remember we're pulling out pairs, but don't forget about 4b. Bring that 4b down or you will forget it. And you're going to multiply it to your pairs. I have a pair of 2's. I have another pair of 2's. Okay, I have 2 pairs of c's, so c squared. And now I'm ready to open the radical. I put this 3, which is left, and I put this a, which is left, and this c, which is left. And now I've marked off all my circles and my variables. Simplify it. Multiply the numbers first. 4 times 2 times 2 is 16. B times c squared is just b c squared. Cannot add those together because they're not the same base. And then 3ac is inside. Again, make sure you understand this. If not, you need to raise your hand. If you're at home and you're making this up, make sure you put a little star here and come in tomorrow with what question you have, or if you just need me to talk you through it again. You can also rewind this video back and listen to the explanation again and try to follow along with me. All right, let's look at cube roots on the back here. Write the cube root in simplest form below. Remember, we're never going to write a decimal, ever, ever. Never write a decimal. Okay, so what multiplies to be 32? 4 and 8. All right, don't forget your variables. A squared is A and A. B cubed is B times B times B. C squared is C times C. Okay, and I'm looking for cubes, triples, sets of 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 2s are done. These 2s are going to have to stay inside. Let's look at our variables. This is the only set of 3 that can come out, and it comes out as a B. Okay, I'm ready to do my cube root symbol. And inside, 2 times 2 stays inside. And I'm going to multiply those, so I'm just going to multiply them now. 4. 2 times 2 is 4. I have 2 A's left over inside the house, so A squared stays in. It doesn't come in as 1. There's 2 A's, that has to come as A squared. The only time it comes out as 1 is, in this case, if it was 3 of them, then they come out as 1. And then the C squared stays inside. Remember, we talked about on the front, okay, it's okay to have an exponent of 2, because right here it said no exponents greater than 2. Okay, so we can have an exponent of 2 underneath a cube root. All right, let's look at this example. 108. Let's see, 2 goes into it. And remember, you just take 108, divide it by 2 in your calculator, and you'll get the other factor, 54. 2 is prime. 2 goes into this one again. 2 goes into it twice. 27. 3 and 9. And if you're not as fast with pulling your factors out of your head, hopefully we'll get faster, because you know what I said was coming up next, a factoring unit. ABC factors to A and a B and a C. And none of those variables are going to come out because there's not a group of 3 of them. There's only 1A and 1B and 1C. So what do I have a group of 3 of? I have 3 3's. It comes out as 1 3. Do my cube root symbol. 2 times 2 stays under the radical, and ABC stays under the radical. Should be good at this. Again, this is just review, and I'm doing the review with you, as opposed to doing it on the board, because sometimes we go too slow sometimes that way. But again, if you have questions, remember to ask questions. All right, this time, remember, we have this 3BC on the outside. That needs to come down and be multiplied with anything else that comes out of the radical. So let's factor 81. 81 is a perfect square. 9 times 9 is 81. Okay, but we're talking about cube roots, so we keep going. And then we have 5 A's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A to the 5th, factors like that, and B is just by itself. Okay, so we're looking for groups of 3, and I'm bringing this 3BC down first. If you don't bring that down first, I guarantee you will forget about it. So be careful. Make sure you do something to alert your brain that this is here. Make an arrow, circle it, or so that you see it and you bring it down. And we're going to multiply it to my other groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. It's going to be multiplied to a 3. I have 1, 2, 3 A's. So I'm going to multiply it with that, A. All right, now everything else is going to go under the cube root. I have a 3 that goes under there, and I have an A squared. There's 2 A's, A times A is A squared, and I have a B. So I've taken care of everything that needed to be taken care of. All right, simplify, multiply the numbers first. 3 times 3 is 9. BC times A is just BCA, or I like to put them in alphabetical. ABC, cube root, and what was under it? 3A squared B. A squared B is just A squared B. You never add these because they're not the same base.